Welcome back to Lucid Living, and if this is your first time, welcome, welcome. I'm so happy to have you aboard. My name is Andrew Larkin. I'm an actor, model, performer, storyteller, breathwork coach, and today I'm going to be your host, your guide for today's podcast episode. My friends, we are kicking off the new year of 2026 with a good one, with a brother, and I'm so excited. He's so artistic, so talented, so creative, and genuinely just a great human being. And I'm really excited to dive into this conversation today. But before we get started, let's just take a moment to kind of ground ourselves into the new year with new intentions, and take stillness and take this practice into our day and hopefully the rest of the year. So today I'm really feeling called to do just a simple box breath. Let's do a 4 second box breath for 3 rounds. So that's going to look like an inhale through the nose for 4 seconds. And as you inhale, you're going to expand the belly outwards like you're filling up a water balloon, nice and big, nice and big. You're going to hold it at the top for 4 seconds. And then you're going to exhale out the mouth for four. And that belly is going to come back to your center. And you're going to hold at the bottom for four. We're just going to do that 3 times. Whether this is your morning, your afternoon, your night, this brings a little calm, a little stillness, a little presence and intentionality. That just makes us feel pretty good. So if you allow, let's take this moment and just follow along as I guide throughout this practice. So let's begin with an inhale through the nose in three, two, one. Big inhale through the nose. Two, three, four. Hold it. Two, three, four. Exhale out the mouth. Three, two, one. Hold it. Three, two, one. Another big inhale through the nose. Two, three, four. Hold it. Two, three, four. Exhale out the mouth. Three, two, one. Hold it. Three, two, one. Last one. Big inhale through the nose. Two, three, four. Hold it. Two, three, four. Exhale out the mouth. Three, two, one. Hold it. Three, two, one. Now you can return your natural breathing, wiggle the toes, wiggle the fingertips, bring some energy back into the body. Woo! All right, my friends, today we got ourselves a writer, a filmmaker. He's a musician, a local music supporter, and he's a brother from another mother. We got Angelo Theodoro. What's going on, my brother?
What's up? Um, yeah, nothing much. We're living. We're kicking ass, doing what we can. Standard shit.
Yes, sir, man. Yes, sir. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. So we start off every episode with the present moment. So if you let the audience know, where are you in the world geographically, and how are you feeling this particular season of life?
Hi. Literally geographically, I'm in New York, so I'm living it up, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, with the new year, not to sound so corny, but like I feel like a new man. You know what I mean? I feel like I've uh opened. I guess opened the door for like new, not to sound so vague, but like I feel like I'm doing like new things that I haven't done before, and like fully going like I guess freelance, if you will, and just like jumping into work because I do like in the film world, that's what I do. In quote, I tell people that's like what my day job is, like film related things.
Mhm.
And I'm being a sound guy or a sound mixer more often than I'm not nowadays. And I'm scared every time, but it ends up being fine every time. So that's I guess the newest thing in my life. um,
Bro, you're stepping up to be the next like Jim Cameron. You're gonna know everything about every different department once you start again making your own stuff.
I'm scared as hell, man. uh, but yeah, I mean, I'm just a big I want to do everything guy. You know what I mean? Not even just like in film, like, and I'm sure I'll talk about it more later. But like, I just like doing stuff. You know what I mean? And like, I don't remember where I heard the quote, or I don't know if it was an interview, or whatever. But I heard someone say one time that like, the more scared of going into something that's new is kind of better because you're like expanding your horizons or whatever, however you want to call it. You know what I mean? You're like actually like trying something new and not just like succumbing to like you know being a scared little nugget. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Yeah.
But yeah, that's where
Awesome.
I am.
I love it. I love it. All right, now we're gonna dive into and bang a little bit at the past. So I always find when I meet new people, and just I always find it fascinating to just hear life stories. And I feel like a lot of things that make us who we are today started from when we were children, started from our environment, how we were raised, and all the little steps that kind of brought us to where we are today. So this is like the craziest, worst, best, most loaded question you'll probably ever get. But in your own words, if you're willing to share, what was life like for young Angelo growing up? And then what kind of steps happened along the way that kind of led you to where you are today? So your life story, kind of in your own words.
Um, okay, so we could start here. So I was like born and I guess you could say raised. I was there until I was like roughly 10. It was like kind of 2011, not the point. I was born and raised in Philly. And then my whole family moved to Long Island. And now we're here. But when we moved to Long Island, I didn't, obviously I didn't have like any friends like right off the bat or like because we moved like during the summer. So it was like there was no like school year or anything for me to like go out and make friends. So the whole like first summer of me like being in New York, I was just like watching movies and consuming media, I guess. And I don't know, I just like really liked movies a lot. And I think I didn't realize it then, but I came to the conclusion a little bit later in life that like I just like making stuff. You know what I mean? I'm a big like if I see something that I like, I want to do that thing. You know what I mean? Um, and not to I don't mean to like be like I'm so motivated and everyone else sucks, but I feel like there's a lot of people that like have no desire to like attempt to do something that like they enjoy themselves, and I just don't understand that personally. You know what I mean? Like if I see a cool like painting, like obviously I'm gonna be fucking whatever 10 years old and try to paint. You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm a big I want to step and do everything. But backtracking a little bit, yeah, I moved to New York. Was watching like hella movies. Discovered that I just like stuff. Um, and then I don't know. From there, I think uh I was never the best like social I was never good at like social interactions, you know what I mean? Or at least at that stage of my life. But I think fast forwarding a little bit into like my high school arc, I guess. I so my cousin had worked at McDonald's, right? And she was like a manager and she was like, Angelo, you're working tomorrow. And I was like, what? And mind you, I was like 14 or 15 or whatever. I was scared as hell because, like I said, like I was not good at social interaction at all. And I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna have to like talk to people and stuff. That's freaky and weird. But yeah, no. So I was working at McDonald's for like a couple years during like the earlier years in my high school. And it like whipped me into shape like a mother effer. Excuse me. You said I can curse here,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, you're
For
good.
clarification.
You're
Okay.
good.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it whipped me into shape like a motherfucker in terms of like I guess handling social interactions. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And I feel like from there, I really honestly, I feel like everybody should have like a shitty, like actually like a shitty, horrible job that they hate when they're younger, so that they understand like one what they don't like job wise, just flat out. But also, like I said, it like I like understood how like again, it sounds crazy, but I like understood how like human interaction in the real world went, I guess. And not that I was beaten to death or anything by anybody, but it was just like I had to like, hi, how are you? Hi, can I take your order? You know what I mean? And like that
Mhm.
shit, yeah. uh, and then high school era, and then I ended like just after graduation. I got a job at a gym called Eastern Athletic. They're pretty cool and awesome. I loved working there. And I think there's where I really like that was like I guess the epicenter of like all of my growth after the fact was just like post high school getting that job at the gym. Um, and then I went to 5 times college for film school and things that were because throughout my life, like I said, I just like making stuff. But I don't know. I think I was attracted to film most because it was just like the first thing I was like, I want to do that. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I got the job at the gym, and like I said, so I was like the front desk guy, and I was just kind of like, hey, what's up? I was just kind of like, I
Mhm.
wasn't a personality hire because I was a fucking weirdo when I was hired, but like I was able to like be like openly silly. And I
Mhm.
think that's fire because like even nowadays, like I don't ever like to like I will never like be a customer service voice ass dude. You know what I mean? Like I'm never gonna be like, hi, how are you? Oh my God. Shut up. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because at least with my experience just in general, the least formal you are with people, the more they're like, oh yeah, that's like a guy that exists. You know what I mean? And no shade on anyone that does like customer service voicey a lot, but like it feels fake a lot of the times. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Uh, what was I saying? Yeah, and then just like that era where I was in, or I was working at the gym. I was in school. I was, because I was at the front desk, I was like doing homework a lot, or like I was taking like hella like freelance whatever jobs where I had to like edit, you know what I mean? Whether it was like a music video, because I've been doing music videos for a while, or doing as in like shooting and da da da. But yeah, while I was at the gym, I was like editing or doing homework, and it was fire. I really feel like I had like a general control over like the bullshit in my life, because I was able to like kind of center it all while I was at work. You know what I mean? Um, but yeah, and then from there, uh, life is just kind of like, you know what I mean? Because I feel like once I was in that like college time, uh, I think like being a big boy really like hit me like a fucking truck. You know what I mean? Because it was kind of like everything in life that like just happens just could like happen within the same like 2 years or whatever.
Mhm.
And I was just overwhelmed with like, because I was going to school, I was working, I also like worked at Five Towns while I was there for like a year. um I had a girlfriend in Connecticut at the time, so I was, you know what I mean, I was just like doing too many like things, and I was like exploding and dying.
Mhm.
um and then probably like one of the bigger, like, I guess, turning points. And my sorry if I'm yapping like a motherfucker, by the
Bro,
way. I don't mean
this is
to,
what this
you know
show's
what I mean?
about. This is what it's all about.
uh yeah, and then I guess the biggest like turning point, if you will, was, so I this was like 2020, yeah, 2022. And I was like I was like working out. I was just like physically like doing a lot, you know what I mean? And to compress the story, I like ended up in the hospital for like a day. Um, Essentially what I was doing, according to the various doctors that I had saw within that like month or two, after the hospital visit, was like I was overworking my body. I was like not eating or drinking enough, and like I was consuming energy drinks like a fucking animal. And I just was overstressing myself and like da da da. And like to make a long story short, like from that like moment, or I guess period of time rather, um, I understood how important like self care is. You know what I mean? And like to not just like overwork myself, because I like do working and I, blah, 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 you know what I mean? Um, so I think since that like period of time, 2022, probably early 2023, I've been taking like self care and just, I guess me time more seriously. But that in the sense of like, I'm like actually like, this could sound funny, but like actually grooming myself, or like actually like, taking the time to just like sit and like, I'm not an active meditator necessarily, but I like I said, I take like my isolated time very seriously now. Um, and I guess you can consider that meditation, but none, regardless. I at least nowadays specifically, I find a lot of fulfillment in just like sitting and being alone. You know what I mean? And not in any like self-deprecation, like, oh my God, I'm so alone way, because that's like corny and cringe and also not true. But like, I don't know. I have said for a while, like we're a very like selfish thing, like the human race. Like we all live for ourselves, like point blank. You know what I mean? Regardless of the relationships we build, or like, who we're friends with, da 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 da. Um, I like every single person is supposed to be living for their own life. You know what I mean? And like I said, I just find the most fulfillment in, truly like taking care of myself. And like a big portion of why that like hospital visit period of time was such a big thing for me, because I was like actually not sleeping a lot and like actually not showering as often. Ew, gross, I know. But like, you know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't physically good for me, you know what I mean? Regardless of how like physically good I felt about myself, like, you know what I mean? But
Mhm.
nowadays, like I said, I feel a lot more like whole as a floating spirit in the world, I guess.
Mhm.
Um and yeah, and at least nowadays, so I had stopped working at the gym because I was working for Gemelli for obviously a while, and
Mhm.
now we're here. But um, since I stopped working at the gym, I like super like went, not like intentionally, but just because I just like had hella jobs coming up like in the latter half of 2024. Um, I uh, because I was taking like self care and just like my own personal life, I guess, a little bit more seriously. Uh, since, like I said, like the mid 2024 point, I'm like only doing freelance work, which is kind of fine. I'll be able to live and like pay my bills and shit. So like I'm cool. I'm not really stressing. But like That also kind of courses into the fact that like I said, I'm trying to really like make sure I have time to like breathe or like have like a day once a month. There's not like concrete, but just like for the example, like once a month or something, just so I can like sit down and be a person or like fucking I make music or like I don't often like have times where I'm sitting and making a beat, but like you know what I mean. I want to make sure I like have times to do like the fun silly stuff. Not the music is silly, but you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
The less like financially smart thing. You know, I just need time to like be real. You know what I mean? And that's kind of where I am now is just doing stuff for me, but not in like a selfish way and more like a self care way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
But yeah, that's the fucking
Yeah,
novel.
man. Awesome, dude. Awesome. I had a few questions throughout that. I want to go back though. When you said that films was really the first thing like you were watching the movie or you were into it, and that was like what got you into kind of the creative space. Was there a moment or was it like a cumulative essence thing? Or was there a moment where you're like, I'm watching Jurassic Park and I'm just like mind blown and I want to do that?
I think the idea of like creation, like wanting to like I want to make that wasn't like a specific like movie I'd say, but I think the movie like Whiplash, the drummer movie, that one was really the one where I was like, holy shit, I can do it. You know what I mean? Like that's so fire. And like not that I was like, that looks easy, but like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like what made that movie for me was like the acting and kind of just I think it's like a perfect movie, Whiplash. But it was really what jump started like the whole like, holy shit, like I'm locked in, I can do this. You know what I mean? But like I said, like the like idea of like creation was just a cumulative thing.
Mm-hmm. Totally, totally, totally. And then I want to talk about freelance for a little bit because I find that it was interesting where like for me it's like your entire life from like elementary school to college you have structure, you have like this is the classes that you're going to take, this is the homework that you have to do, and everything's being handed to you and then you have to complete it, and it's like a very structured system where it's like very similar to corporate world where like you do, and it's corporate, it's almost like the adult version of school, I feel like, but they don't
Mm,
really teach you, and there are classes that you can take, but the system doesn't really gear you towards what it's like to have to like hustle every day for your next job and like communicate and put yourself out there and sell yourself and do and maintain busyness when you don't have necessarily a day where you have something to do, and
mm,
maintaining creativity throughout it. And I find that transition can be kind of tough. But I also find sometimes people who like weren't that into school or the structure of school are like
mm,
incredible entrepreneurs, you know? So how was the
mm.
transition for you going from like school to being like, all right, I'm gonna start freelancing and doing my thing? Was it kind of like a seamless thing? Like it felt natural, or was it a little tough, or how was that and how has it been?
I think going from like the more I guess stiff or I can't remember the verbiage used before, but like from like the school environment to like now, it was like super gradual. You know what I mean? Because like while while I was in college, I was like doing random freelance things or like I totally didn't mention this at all. I had a photo studio. It was a small little photo studio that I like did work at and obviously like took pictures and da, da, da. Um like I was doing that for a while at the same time as school, and then just kind of over time my life became more freelance, you know what I mean? It became a little bit like broader. Uh but I think that, and forgive me, I'm gonna be totally honest with you, I forget your actual question, but I'm gonna answer it to the best of my ability based on what I
Yeah,
remember.
yeah, yeah.
uh I think the sociability act like point the sociability like part of life at
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the hell I'm saying, but you know what I'm saying? Like being that I'm now like a sociable person,
Yeah.
uh really helped the freelance I guess section nowadays, or the sociability throughout my life thus far, reaching me to this point has gotten me to a place where I feel like freelance is not very hard to come by, knock on
Mm-hmm.
wood. Because not to sound like a fucking, big shot, but like I feel like I know enough people and have made enough connections throughout my life thus far where I'm never really struck. Like I feel like more often than not, people are just like, "Hey, Angelo, can you do this for me next week for a week?" Yeah, sure. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? A lot of it's kind of just like, like complete. I hate saying this because it sounds narcissistic, and I promise you it's not. But I like just like point blank, I don't think there's ever been like a singular job, maybe like one or two random freelance that like day jobs or something. But like I don't think I've ever actually actively looked for a job. I think pretty much everything that I've had has fallen into my hands. But like kind of all just because like I feel like I'm surrounding myself with the appropriate people. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
Like a lot of the jobs nowadays I'm getting are obviously film related because like I went to school for film and I was working with you for a while and you know what that environment's like and like
Yeah.
I just think everything in life is kind of just being social. Not even like the people you know, but like just talk to people. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And not even on like a not even on like a mission, like, oh, I have to talk to this person because I'm gonna be a big shot one fucking day. You know, like I just like talking to people and it works out. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And if the connection is made job wise, great. If not, don't really care. Like I'm just here to yap and not shut my mouth. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. I mean, it's such a huge testament because you hear it all the time, but especially I feel like in the freelance space, in the artistic space, so much of it is who you know and the connections and like your network is truly synonymous with your net worth. I believe, and it's really cool to kind of see it all happen in fruition. And bro, I want to talk a little bit about music and almost like the coming of age of it, because talking about a little bit when you were a little bit younger, communicating was maybe a little challenging. And now you're such an incredible communicator, and you've connected and communicated and collaborated with so many other people. Um, when did music start playing a role in your life? Because I know you've kind of done so much with music too. Like you make music videos, you've produced stuff, and then you've also been not just behind the camera, but in front of the camera, writing your own songs and doing your own music. So what has music kind of, I'm trying to make it more specific of a question instead of making it so broad, but I guess the transition into music, how did you find your voice, I guess, through music? And how did, like, as a vessel to express yourself, like, what does music kind of mean to you?
I'm glad you asked that because I love talking about this.
Mm-hmm.
But circling back slightly to like the I guess life story of it, I just didn't touch upon this. When I was in high school, me and my buddy Carmine, who I'm still buddies with, we're just not as close as we were then. We we liked rap music at the time, and like we were like rapping together in his basement, and that was just like the funnest thing ever because it was awesome. And it still is, and I love it. But like just like kind of going through time, I really think expanding my taste in music, I guess, is what helped me, I guess, find my musical voice. If that's what it, like to answer the question in that regard,
Mm-hmm.
I just think I truly understood like what I liked and what connected with like my soul. Because I'm a big like I like stuff that really like connects with me, whether it literally just be sonically like I like that guitar and how it makes my heart feel, or if it's I'm not a big like lyrics person. Like you could kind of say what you want in the song. If I can feel what you're saying in general, it doesn't have to be anything fucking crazy. You know what I mean? Or like in the like super earlier sections of me like liking music, I like was super into like Eminem in like middle school or whatever. And like at the time I was like everything has to be so lyrical and like so like grotesquely good with word. Like it's not that deep. You know what I mean? Nowadays, like I said, everything musically is about feeling, but or at least to me, that's how I like found what I like and what connects most with my soul and my heart and mind and everything. But um I think more so coming back to the real world and less about like what I like. So my photo studio, I originally had a smaller space within the building. But when I had a couple other like people that like wanted to like help me out and join the business slash some people just wanted to like, help pay for the spot and like just like kind of join the physical spot with me, but maybe not like be a part of the business, I guess you could say. It's a weird complex thing. I'm not gonna get into, but not the point. Some other people like joined the space with me. So we got a bigger spot because it was like 8 to 10 people like sharing it with me. So we moved to a bigger spot in that building. And that is where like my entire life exploded in the greatest way possible. Uh, so to compress the story, the photo studio ended up also being a music venue. Um, and it was unconventional, and I was like a super crazy hater of it at first because my actual business partner, Ciro, uh, kind of didn't like push, but he was like, because okay, at the time he was in a band with my buddy Carmine, who I mentioned earlier, and his cousin, uh, and they had a gig at this bar, I don't know, somewhat near like the area of the photo studio space, which is sorry, the photo studio space is called Suite 208, just so I can refer to it short
Mhm.
in short syllables. Um, but yeah, so Ciro and his band had a gig at this bar somewhat close to Suite, and it like closed down or something, or like the show got canceled. Don't really remember, but like they had to like either move or cancel their show. And Ciro was like, "Oh, oh, we've been talking about like doing like music stuff in like the office in Sweet to It, you know what I mean? So like we should like do the show there instead, guys. You down?" And ended up that's what ended up happening is we ended up doing the show and people ended up coming, which is the weirdest thing because like mind you, the like Sweet 208 was like in on the second floor of a shopping center with like a shop right and like a pet store in it. You know what I mean? So like what the hell are we
Yeah.
doing music venue stuff in a fucking office above a shop right? You know what I mean? Like that's stupid and that's why I was a hater. I was like, first of all, nobody's gonna fucking come to this. This is weird and stupid. But also like, can we really do this? You know what I mean? Will mom, you know what I mean? Will the landlord be cool with it? Uh uh Not actually answering that question, but fucking yeah. So I like I said, after that first show like ended up happening and like people came. Not a ton of people. If I were to guesstimate, I think it was like 15 or 20 or something. But like I said, 15 to 20 people coming to like a show in an office space.
Mhm.
Crazy. Uh and then fast forwarding a little bit, we just ended up doing more just through, like I said, just like being social and like connections and stuff. Like, after the first show, we were like, dude, we should like actually do this, whatever. So, we made like a little Instagram account and whatever. And like I was saying before, like just being social just kind of works out because people ended up coming to us and saying, "Hey, can we play a show at your place?" And we were like, "What the hell are you talking about?" You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And just like I said, like kind of snowballing, it just ended up being like the most successful thing. Not necessarily a little bit financially, but like more so in terms of like I don't know, people coming and like liking it, and
Mhm.
my own following grew, not just number wise, but just you know what I'm saying. Like I feel like I know more people, whatever. But it ended up just snowballing, and it was like the most successful thing that like at least I've ever done by 20 miles. You know what I mean? Just because I feel like, and again, this is not a narcissistic thing. I mean this more so in like a factual basis. I feel like I know like 90% of the people that make music on Long Island. You know what I mean? Because
Mhm.
like at some point within the past like couple of years, uh, whether it be people booked a show at our space or now since sorry, another part of the story that I'm gonna fast forward a little bit. So we ran Sweet 208 like the venue up until I think literally today last year or like yesterday last year, but it was like January 4th or 5th or something of 2025. Um, and really, we stopped doing it because we got too big for our britches. And to make a long story short, there was a person-sized hole in the hallway, and the landlord didn't like that. So we asked to leave before they got mean. uh, but nowadays, we're just booking. We're like the bookers or promoters, I guess, of like other like we're just like booking shows at other spots. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, whether it was people coming to us and booking shows at our space last year, the year before, whatever, or nowadays we're reaching out to new people that we've never met, or maybe people we know before, people that we're friends with, blah blah blah. Blah. I feel like I have a general grasp of like just the entire Long Island scene for the most part, the Long Island music scene. Um, and I'm glad, and not just because of like a popularity thing, but just like I have really only met maybe like one person that I like actually don't like, but like even then I like don't like that person because they were like mean or something. You know what I mean? Like I feel like everybody in the music scene is pretty much the same like genre of person in the sense of like we're all here because we like music and you're my buddy and like hey man what's up? You know what I mean? It's a lot of just sociability regardless of yeah, obviously we're all here for the music and we're all here for that, but
Mhm.
um I feel like a lot of it is just it comes down to just like being a nice person and just like being sociable and fun, I guess. If
Mhm.
that answers your question, I don't know if I answered it at all. I just my
You
fault.
perfect,
I
dude.
do be forgetting stuff.
I love that story because I feel like that's such a what an incredible confirmation that you're on the right path, you know? And I feel like all the greats who are selling out Madison Square Garden, a lot of them started, in that kind of small venue space where you're like this shouldn't work, but then the alchemy kind of happens, and then obviously like everyone's talented, but then it's one of those things too where it's I feel like in the art space, selling is such a big part of it. Like you can be the most talented person in the world, like even as an actor, like you can be the most talented actor, but if you're not marketing yourself or the most talented musician, if nobody knows you exist, then you don't really exist. So it's such there's the business side, balancing the business and the actual talent and the craft, which maybe we can speak on a little bit later. But I want to talk a little bit about like specific music now. Like you've done,
Mhm.
I went through it, man, and I should have gone through it a long time ago, but we have um
Oh shucks.
Dirt, Don't Love, Soul Crusher,
Oh my God.
Sandpaper, bro. And
Oh
bro,
my
I'm serious.
God.
I think it was which one? Soul Crusher, maybe. One of the set like the music videos, I was like, dude, this is genuinely so sick. And it always makes me think of like Heath Ledger did this. I don't think like he like was in the music space and he made a music video and it was so DIY and it was so sick. And
Yeah.
that one like that one was so creative and so cool. And I wanna just ask, I mean, I'm sure you can speak to a lot of your experiences, but what was one really memorable favorite experience you had shooting and filming a music video?
Um, in general, or just my own, because I
I guess
have done
we
way
can do
more,
your own
not
first,
mine,
because
but
then I know you
regardless.
produced a bunch of others too.
Yeah. I think I don't know. I feel really honestly, I think my favorite one, and this might be too ancient for what's on your list or whatever, but I did me and Carmine in 20 I think it was 2022. We did a song called Calamari, and it was just us like being silly and goofy. And like we set up a green screen and like we went into like a field and just like we were just like booling in a field, and it was a lot of fun. And really like Calamari is great in my opinion, like music video wise, because we came in with zero idea and I just like edited the whole thing, and like it was like a bunch of bright colors, and like I said, I was like green screening our faces or whatever, and I was just it was just kind of like and it was awesome and a lot of fun, and I'm really proud of that.
Yeah.
But it more in the accordance of I guess your list. I really like uh, 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 I think Sandpaper might be up there because kind of similarly, there wasn't super a plan, but I was just like, hey, Orlando, Mike, you want to just like come and shoot a thing with me?
That was like the black
Black
and white one,
backdrop.
right? With you and
Yeah, yeah,
actors.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I am not exactly sure why. Like, I think I know. Like, I get compliment. Like, again, not to sound like that, but I get complimented on that one specifically a lot. And I don't know why. It's very simple and not edited like amazing. I guess the color grading is cool, but like in my opinion, I've done cooler stuff. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
But I do like that one because I just was just like, hey, you guys want to do stuff? We did it. I coded it like that night and then put it out that day, or like later that day or something, or
Yeah.
maybe the day after. Um, but yeah, I don't know. That was pretty cool.
Bro, there's something beautiful in like the I think the simplicity of it.
Yeah.
And it was awesome, dude. It was awesome. All
Yeah.
right.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Tell me a little bit about Underscore Productions.
Oh, dude, that shit sucks. Uh, kind of. So
Are you
when I
still
had
are you
the
still a part of it?
yeah.
Yeah.
So uh to compress it a little bit because I could yap about this forever. When I had the original photo like studio space, like the smaller space in like the earlier half of the 2020s, or I guess early portion rather. Um, I underscore productions. I couldn't like get a space without being some kind of entity, from what I understood at the time. I don't know how true that is actually, but I just like assumed. Plus, it was also just at the time I was just like, it's good to have a legal umbrella for my freelance work or whatever, and that's kind of what underscore is, point blank. Um, but nowadays, I find that people, because underscore productions and like Sweet 208 like was the same thing for like a hot minute. But I found that a lot more people care, like a significant amount of people cared more about like Sweet 208 than like underscore productions. You know what I mean? But I think because right now, really, I'm trying to have like some kind of, I guess, like rethinking or like I guess restructuring of underscore productions, because underscore productions obviously is supposed to be like my little production company, but like even then with that, I'm kind of just like doing stuff, you know what I mean, and not really like trying to be like a production company necessarily. I was for a little bit, but you know, like I said, just people started caring more about the music stuff, so I focused way more about the music, like almost entirely on the music stuff or like the venue stuff, just because that's where my success lied, I guess. And underscore like still as an edit, both as an entity and as like a thing that exists in my head, like it's still real. I just am not focused as much on like being a production company. as much as I am doing like music related things, just because, like I said, the music stuff works. But then also like with underscore, I still like do like we've been talking, like I do hella other like music videos and just other random shoots that people ask me. I just don't take it as like, let me put it this way. If somebody like asks me like, hey, can we do like a photo? Can we do like headshots or something? I'm like, yeah, sure. Just like fucking, I don't know, toss me whatever amount of money. You know what I mean? I don't even really like consider it like a business thing. You know what I mean? And really nowadays I should, because being a legal entity and stuff, I have to like pay taxes and da da. And I'm not saying I'm like trying to avoid taxes or anything, but like I'm not even thinking of production as work at all nowadays. I think of it more of like a just thing I do. You know what I mean? That's kind of where I'm struggling right now, is just because I don't know what to do with underscore, whether I want to just like, or if I want to like actually commit and make it like a business for real. And I could. It's just that's also slightly difficult at the moment, just based on the amount of different things I do, whether it be the music or, like I said, I do like photos sometimes, or I do like the shows, or I do da da da. Da. It's just it's hard to focus specifically on one thing, especially because you know a million things punch me in the face all the time. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Wait, so
So to answer your question, I don't know.
is underscore, is it a culmination of all the things that you do, like the photography, the
Yeah,
videography, the music videos, and then also like the filmmaking stuff you do too?
yeah.
Yeah, cool. Go, go, go.
If that makes sense. I know I kind of didn't answer you at all, but
Nah, dude, that's great. You're good. You're good. You're good. Bum, 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 bum. All right. If you're open to divulging into this a little bit, um, I always like, especially when I bring my male friends on, because I feel like there needs to be more conversations around this in this space where I feel like women, it's very easy to open their heart and soul to like what's going on in their lives, whereas guys, we like kind of buddy and like talk next to each other instead of like in front of each other and share like what's up, bro, like how are you, like what's going on, and like just specifically mental health stuff. And we don't have to dive
Mhm,
too deep into it, but also as an artist too, because it's an interesting thing where in the music space, but in a lot of any creative space, there's this notion of being a suffering artist. I need to suffer to create good art. And then we kind of navigate and like sit in our trauma or in our circumstances for maybe longer than we need to, and then it can have repercussions down the road. Um, so I think in the music space, mental health is definitely there, but in any space, and that what it means to be a man today, and masculinity, it's just like a weird, constant changing evolution and struggle for all of us. So if you're open to sharing anything about navigating, and I know you're on a self-care journey, which is the fact that you even talked about that, bro, is so awesome because we are breaking the stigma. And I think therapy is becoming more approachable, more a little bit more sexy, a little bit more
mhm.
something that's accepted, and then talking about certain things and just health in general. I feel like us as a society of humans in America, like we're like the sickest we've ever been. So I think we're desperate for finding ways to heal ourselves and our community and our loved ones and our in a lot of ways. So just again, not really a specific question, but as an artist for yourself, how has it been navigating mental health as you've progressed throughout the different kind of seasons of life and navigating jobs and people, and when something goes down, like how do you recoup from it? And just yeah, if you want to talk anything about ways that you navigate through mental health, that'd be awesome.
Um, I think kind of touching on what you said before, like the, I guess, suffering artist, as like kind of cringe as it could sound. Uh, like I think there's a way of looking at mental health in that regard, like just saying it flat out, like making stuff, at least like for me personally, is very like therapeutic, I guess. And like a very helpful in like a distractions sense, but not like in like a, I don't want to be sad right now. I just want to make whatever. You know what I mean? Not in that regard necessarily, but I think a lot of people could and should kind of just like focus on doing a thing, I guess. And not, like I said, there's nothing wrong with like facing your problems. I'm not saying like you shouldn't, face your whatever problems you might have, or like if you're depressed or da da da. Like I'm not saying that's not something you should focus on ever, but definitely I think uh having a creative outlet is definitely something that is uh a lot more like suitable to help you, I guess, if that makes sense. And for an example, and I this is funny that we're doing this because I don't like talking about myself like this because I sound like a fucking narcissist like hell. Uh, but like right now I'm working on an album and the album that or working on it's like done. It just has to be mastered right now.
Hmm.
I made it like within the past like kind of 2 years. And I used the like music making experience kind of as therapy throughout the year, I guess. Uh, and I'm not gonna talk about it too much because it's not part of the question, and I don't want to talk about it anyway. Uh, but like I think the focus of the album, like you'll hear it if you listen to it. Like obviously, I was going through stuff at the time, you know what I mean? And like I just think having some kind of creative outlet is necessary in that regard. You know what I mean? But also, like I said, there's no by no means am I saying like don't focus on what you got going on. Just like distract yourself because also too it depends on the person. Some people it like only helps them to talk about it with people. You know what I mean? Or a therapist or your friends or whatever. I just personally find more I feel more whole kind of channeling that whatever I might have going on up here into creation.
Yeah.
Especially because like and this is silly and goofy, but I just through like reading like YouTube comments and stuff, a lot of people are like, this person's best whatever was when they were depressed and they were like going to kill themselves, you know what I mean? And as crazy as that sounds, like a little bit, you know what I mean? Not like crazy and not, I don't know, like I said, I don't wish the worst upon anybody, but I feel like the most authentic and most like uh I guess soul touching things are usually when somebody's at their point of needing to express that energy in some way, and usually at least in the sense I'm talking about, comes out in whatever artistic way, whether it would be music or if you're working on a film or blah blah blah, painting, whatever. You know what I mean? I think a creative outlet is absolutely necessary just in that conversation, but it's not. It's a necessary part of the conversation, but it's not necessary for every person. You know what I mean? That's just how I personally can relate to that. But I do agree, though. I think it is worth talking to somebody if you have any underlying issues or if you have stuff going on. Like it's important to talk about it. You know what I mean? Whether or not you want to talk about it, which is like you know your friends or whoever. You know what I mean? Like the conversation I think is important if you personally have either anything going on, whether it be negative, positive, da 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 da. It's good to literally just talk, or like I was saying before, like be social. It's good to have conversations with people. You know what I mean? And there's nothing wrong with opening up. You know what I mean? I just happen to do it in a musical sense. You know what I mean?
Mm.
uh, yeah. Everyone needs an outlet. I just do it this way. You know?
No, 100%, bro. And I think the healing comes from self-expression and being able to find those and like do the things that bring you joy too. I feel like sometimes we get like suppressed so much of it and like we get older and we forget the things that we did as a kid that we loved so much. And I feel like we can get deeper and a little bit darker the less of that we do and those sides of ourselves that we have suppressed. And if we just allow ourselves to express, whether that's music, whether that's cooking, whether that's going for a walk, whether that's moving our, and then you have like things where it's like scientifically like exercising, moving your body helps, but just doing anything that brings you love and joy. But creative expression is there's a spiritual component to that and an energy where you can make some beautiful, really cool stuff in certain seasons of life, and then you look back at like I think of like Bruce Springsteen, like you have such a crazy career, but you have some every album, every song is like a love letter to where you were at that part of your life, you know?
Mm.
And I think it's so cool. And I want to talk about creativity, but I also want to just like kind of break the stigmatism because you've mentioned this a couple of times about not wanting to be like sounding like a narcissist, where I feel like it's so easy to like put ourselves down, and I feel like receiving and actually like accepting our worth and like what we've done, which is like all the cool shit that you've done. It's like I just want to encourage you to just like, keep embodying it, bro, and like keep leading with that kind of energy because you like did the work to get there and like you deserve that and deserve that kind of praise. And I don't think you sound like a narcissist. I think you're just like speaking the truth because you're doing the work. And I think a lot of us can like do a little bit more of that, and like really celebrate ourselves for all the greatness that we've done and celebrate the little
Yo,
big ones.
stop making me feel good about myself.
You
Appreciate you
got
though.
to. It's the year, man. It's the year. All
Yeah.
right, now I want to talk a little bit about creativity. You're a creative in so many cool and unique ways. Do you also write too in the filmmaking? Do you write
Yeah, I
stories?
I a lot of the time I work like with people, but I like the writing process. But I in my little descriptive thing, I said writing because writing means it like it carries like throughout like everything, I guess, whether it be
Mhm.
music or film or whatever, you know what I mean? Or like literally like in an hour, I like have like a brainstorming session with this guy I met like a while ago, but like not the point.
Cool. Yeah.
Yes, writing is cool.
That kind of answers a little bit of my question. The creative process, I find it so. Elizabeth Gilbert has this book called Big Magic, and it kind of breaks down the true, like, unknown, where do ideas come from? Where does creativity come from? Where does the idea for that album come from? Like, Michael Jackson was like staying up all night working on a song, and someone was like, "Why are you working on it so hard?" And he's like, "Because if I don't work on it right now, I'm gonna lose it, and Prince is gonna get it." Like, there's something weirdly mystical about the creative process. So, I'm curious if you have a process when it comes to music or filmmaking, or you someone comes to you with an idea of a videography, and do you like see it, and what did like those steps look like in that kind of your creative process that you found, or if you have any crazy stories of how an idea came to you and how you manifested it creatively.
Um, no. Like kind of in the vein of the Michael Jackson thing you were saying. Uh I think a lot of what I do is completely random. And I know
Mhm.
that sounds crazy, but there is no method. Just kind of whatever. Here's what I will say in that regard. I'm a huge believer in so there's a difference between collaborative like stuff, creative collaboration and like individual collaboration. I'm sorry, that's not what I creative collaboration versus individual creation. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Um, I think collaborative, at least for me, collaborative creation is a lot more like trial and error, I guess. And I think in that regard, it's a lot of figuring out what works for both of you, I guess. And I feel like that collaborative creation is a lot more like brain, uh like it comes from your brain rather than from your heart, versus if you do individual creation, that comes more from your heart because that's more individual. You know what I mean? Like for example, like I had showed you the one of the versions at the time of my proof of concept that I wrote with my friend Smoller from high school.
Mhm.
uh that was, like I said, that was a collaborative thing that like he came up with like the root idea and then we wrote it. But like I said, we like wrote it with our brains. It was less about like, what comes from Angelo's heart because we were writing a movie. But
Mhm.
like that's good. It's good to exercise both pieces, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And I just think when I'm personally like individually creating, uh that is a lot more like, if I feel something at the time and I want to get it out, I open my computer and do something, whether it is music related or if I'm writing, even just like fucking poetry. You know what I mean? Just like something. I personally just like when I feel like I need to get something out, I do something. You know what I mean? Or like if I'm like doing nothing, like if, let's just say I have a day where I'm doing actually nothing, I'll just like make something up to do. You know what I mean? And however I'm feeling then and there is what I end up doing, I guess. There's no method whatsoever. It just kind of happens.
Mhm. Do you have a favorite story off the top of your head of a song and like that came out of boredom, or that came out of I don't even know where it came, and then you just kind of followed it, or a music video or a film or anything?
Um, I'll answer that two ways. So I had a period during COVID where I was like I was in I was going to school like for film at the time. And like there was a handful of just like editing assignments, like from an editing class where they were like, or the professor was like, make this movie and make it with these beats, but focus on the editing. And I feel like because I was kind of forced to create something, uh I made it. I don't know. I think in that regard, I think I'm most proud of the things I'm most proud of in the editing world are the things that I had to just like I like had to make, you know what I mean? And just like had a direction for.
Mhm.
Or like there was two little short films I made in that period of time. There's one called Ghost Town and was one called I think it was called Lapse. Or it was some like L word that's like weird, you know what I mean? Um and with those, it was solely just like I said, it was an editing project, so I focused on the editing, and I'm most proud of them because I feel like I made something out of nothing, and I think that's fire.
Mhm.
uh, but that one, like I said, was kind of, I guess, force, if you will. I didn't feel forced, but it was like I like had to do it for my project or my class, or whatever. Um, with music, uh, when I do make music, I usually the process is uh I make beat or I like loop some sample or something. I'm never like too intricate with like the production end of music just because I'm not as experienced as the average musician, I guess. Um but I if I feel that what I feel in my heart when I make a beat, I verbalize it, whether it be the rapping or the singing or whatever. But the song "Don't La," which we lightly touched, I love that song, but mainly because I like the whole song was like a freestyle kind of, where I was just like kind of just like yammering. Not even like I was like barely even saying words, you know what I mean? Like in the actual freestyle, but it was one of those things where like I kind of just like made the song one night and I was like, I have to like actually put real words to this. And then I made it and I thought that was cool. But I don't know. I like that song a lot because the instrumental or the beat is just like it like it's a looped sample, but it's fire and it's awesome and it's cool. And I like I said, I was just kind of like in I'm fucking on the microphone and then I wrote to it. And that was cool. But yeah, that yeah.
Yeah, bro, that's awesome. Um, I'd love if you had a story of what was it like the first time you ever performed live? Because I feel like a lot of people they say like their biggest fear in the world is public speaking or getting up on a stage. So, do you remember the first time, whether it was like, and it was maybe with your own lyrics, where you had, and an audience can be more than one person, like it could be two people in the audience, but the first time you really got up and was on a stage and you started spitting your beats, how was that?
Uh I I love public speaking. I'm a different person if I'm on a stage and
Yeah.
not just musically. Like I this is gonna and I know you said don't worry about it, like you're great or whatever you said, but like I hate saying this specifically. I'm like like myself with an exponent if you put me on a stage and give me a microphone. I don't know what the hell, not the point. Uh I am just really comfortable on like in a performance aspect. Like I said, not just musically, but like if I'm like giving a speech, like saying a speech or something, love it. Couldn't tell you why. And it's not an attention thing. I just
Mm.
it's cool. I feel like I can be myself with an exponent. It's fire. Um, but there's two times specifically, I guess. There's one that I don't really consider my first performance, but like kind of. So there was one year at Five Times where well, every year at Five Times, but this year at Five Times they did like a what do you call it? Like a little like award thing, like an Oscars kind of, but like 4 or 5 towns.
Mhm.
And one year I was like, hey, can I like perform a song? Is that a thing I could do? And they were like, sure, I guess. And it kind of ended up being like a last minute thing, but I don't really consider that like a performance necessarily. Um, because it was like I said, it was kind of last second and like I don't know, I've done similar things to that before. Like like I was like in band in high school or whatever. Like I've done similar things in that regard. But my first like I guess performance, like musically, was at Sweet Toy. And I play with a band because I love playing with my band. They're cool people, but also I don't know. I do hip hop related things and it feels silly to do like I don't like backtracks person. Like I would never like perform with a backtrack person. Like if I had the option to play with like my band, not the point. First show, it didn't suck, but it kind of sucked. I do this thing a lot, where I forget stuff, and I forget my lyrics a lot. But like it's fine. It's really cool because then I say that in the song. I'd like freestyle even though I can't freestyle, and then I'll be like, I don't remember the words, da, 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 and then people laugh, and it's cool and it's fine, and I move on. But yeah, the first show I played at Sweet, that was like that I consider like my actual first performance. Um, I don't know, I just like forgot words a lot. And I don't know, like not that many people came. I don't really care too much about the amount of people, but it was the fact that I folded under no pressure. You know what I mean? If it was like 80 people there and I forgot all my fucking lyrics, I'd be like, wow, that was the worst thing in the world. I'm horrible and I suck. But it was the fact that I forgot it in what felt like the comfort of my own home with like I think there was like 5 people there. You know what I mean? Uh, but I don't know. I it was a first performance. I'm not worried
Mhm.
about it. You know what I mean? But every time after that, even like I said, even if it was for like 2 people, great. I love it. Even if I fuck up, I'm a fan of the fuck ups.
Dude, you learn so much more from those than your successes, and the success will come from it. I mean, everyone is like listening in the podcast space. The people who are now it's like an Oscar. I don't know if it's Oscar or Golden Globes. There's like the best podcast. and all those nominated, all those in that space, they talk about their first podcast and they can't even listen to it, you know?
Ah.
It's hard, you know, so every time like anyone's fantastic and great, the first time is really rough. But that's just like a part of the process, just genuinely. And the heartbreaking thing is that a lot of people are too afraid to mess up that first time, so that they never even know what they're capable of. So if anyone listening wants to start something, start messy, fail so hard and spectacularly that it's the first step in the right direction. All right, bro, dude, we
Yeah.
talked about the present, we talked a little bit about the past. Now, I open the space to talk a little bit about the future, and I don't really know how I feel particularly about asking this question because part of me is like in the manifestation process is like we should speak our goals and get very clear and specific, but I also believe in the idea of letting the work speak for itself and not actually telling everyone what we're gonna do. So I'll let you again answer this question however you want. Any goals or ambitions or things you got going on for the new year in 26, or it could be what did you see this year with if it was a mood board, what colors or feelings in this kind of vision board do you see for 2026?
I fuck with the color thing. That's fire. I do that when I like ask people like if I'm working with a client or like let's just say like a music video specifically, I love doing because like if I'm doing it for somebody, I'd be like, all right, what color is the song to you? And they always hit me with the, oh, that was a great question. You know what I mean? And I fuck with that. um, to answer your question, no, I have zero goals, but I think that's what I like about what I'm doing personally, is because I don't care. And at that rate, I kind of just like let whatever happens happens. I'm a huge like it is what it is guy. I'm never gonna, you know, whine and complain if I don't like get what I want for the year, like anything. You know what I mean? For example, like the Sweet to Eight stuff. I was a hater. I would have never fucking guessed I'd be doing anything in the music space at all, like 5 years ago. What are you talking about? You know what I mean? But because I am open to anything, I don't know. But that's why I think it's fire. I like having nothing planned because then I'm gonna backtrack a little bit. I think a lot of people like set a goal and base how they feel in life on that, like where they are in coordinates with that goal. I think if you don't have a goal, that's better because then it doesn't actually matter. You know what I mean? And not in any like dismissive way, but just like it doesn't matter. Like if in a year I'm like a fucking construction worker, okay, that's where I am. I'm not gonna complain. If we're, you know what I mean? Like if I saw an interview one time of I don't know if you're familiar with Vince Staples, but he was saying I can't remember the exact like what they were saying, but it was like uh Vince Staples was saying something along the lines of like, oh, like if my girl comes up to me and she's like, am I fat? He'll be like, nah, you look stupid because why are we tripping over the fact that we're fat? If we're fat right now. Why are we you know what I mean? Like why are we tripping over the fact that like this is me talking now. Why are we tripping over the fact that like life is the way it is right now or will be what it will be? It was what it was, it is what it is, and it will be what it will be. So why are we tripping? You know what I mean? But I don't know. I to answer the color
That's poetic.
question,
Yeah, yeah.
uh uh I like bright colors. I don't know. No, I for real though, I think like the future is kind of I mean this less in like a connected to an emotional way and more like I fuck with the color purple. You know what I mean? Like I like this year has purple vibes to me. You know what I mean? But it has absolutely nothing to do with like mood correlation. It feels purple. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Uh, what about you though? I know the point of the podcast is for like kind of me to talk.
Yeah.
Sorry to sound like that, but like, what about you? Like, what do you see for your like? Do you have any particular goals or anything? Obviously, you're in a new living space. As far as I know, I'm not
Yeah,
totally
yeah,
familiar with
yeah.
where
Yes,
and how
that
you
was
live, but like, go ahead.
gaining. I feel like moving into a new space is properly the amount of like overwhelmness, you know, and
Yeah.
it's easy to get kind of swallowed up in the scale that is New York City. But I feel like in my season of life, I need a little bit of that kind of like fast metabolism that New York kind of gives me. So I am
Mhm.
looking forward to it. Particularly with goals. again, being in a new space, finding community is really important to me. So throughout this year, really finding different kinds of community in the acting creative space, but then also my other big value is just like health and holistic space. So whether that's, dude, I'm going to a freaking a uh, a tea a tea thing tonight. It's like they teach you about tea. I'm like, dude, this is such a cool thing.
Fire.
It's pretty affordable. I'm like trying to meet new people, learn about tea. Like there's so many different kind of things that you can do. And like I want to start taking a salsa dancing class. I want to start getting back into acting classes. So find different ways. And it's been a little challenging when you're out of school. Like school gives you the structure to
Mm,
not just learn certain things, but also have a community of people who are also learning the same thing. So getting
mm,
into class, unfortunately, it can get really expensive if you really start trying to hop into all these different things. So trying to be smart economically about all of it. But I started, my big thing is having a new morning routine. So I've been
mm.
wanting to read the 5 a.m. club book. I'm waiting for it to be unqueued up at the library because I want to start incorporating that. And then with my morning routine, this is the year. This one guy was like, or it's like if I look back on 2026, I have a lot of things that I want to accomplish, but specifically like new things that I've never really done before. One of them
Mm.
is skincare, bro. I've been neglecting skincare pretty much my whole life, and my sister's been on my ass about it. And I'm like, you know what? Finally, I really should take this more seriously. So my skin is so soft now. It's been like 4 days, 5 days. Started at the beginning of January. So I'm like,
See,
let's
that's crazy because like as long as I've known you, you have pretty fucking crystal clear skin. Cause I don't know
it's
what you're I don't know what you're talking
I've
about.
never had like acne. I've never really had any of that, but I have like really sensitive skin. So right now you can't really see it, but I've been having this like rash around here and it's been on and off over the last like year. So I'm actually going to the
Mm,
dermatologist for the first time in like 2 weeks. So again, it's just like another world that I've completely kind of suppressed and I'm excited to kind of see what happens. And also, dude, I'm 28 years old. It actually started the seed because once my face kind of got a little leaner, it accentuated these like smile lines, and I'm like, holy shit, dude, I'm
ah,
gonna get these crazy smile lines. And like my sister said, you get that from like not wearing sunscreen, and I'm like anti sunscreen, and I'm like a sun worshiper, so I gotta start taking things a little bit more seriously. Skincare is definitely a big thing this year. I really want to start being more consistent with the podcast. I kind of made like heavy hitters was a big excuse to kind of just not do
mm,
it, and then I was moving, so I just kind of kept putting it off, but I really want to keep showing up consistently in this space and just bring on more friends and more artists and also give me an excuse to kind of go out and like communicate more with more people. It's so
mm.
easy to not stay in touch with people even if you're like a mile away, and it really takes
Yeah.
work and podcasting is like a cool opportunity to connect. Also, are you in like the city of New York now or are you still in Long Island?
No, yeah, I'm on Long Island.
Okay, cool. Cool, cool, cool. Yeah, so that
I'm gonna.
yeah.
Oh, my fault. Go
No,
ahead, go
you're good.
ahead.
Keep going. Because I was just gonna rattle off some more things.
Nah, dude, rattle. I was gonna say I'm gonna ask you a fucking podcast ass question now.
Okay.
So you're very like you're a very like physically tapped in person, obviously, and I could tell like a routine has a big like I guess influence on how you I guess run your life.
Hmm.
How do projects like Heavy Hitters, for example, where you're like away from home for like a while, like how do like long periods of time where you're not I guess at home, like how does that affect your routine or like your physical being? Because like I said, I know it feel like physical attributes and like
Hmm.
being physically intact is a very important thing to you.
Dude, I kind of attribute that to like if I go on a vacation,
Mm,
my routine suffers. And it's kind of like I I've struggled with overeating a long time, and it's started with awareness like 3, 4 years ago. And in order for me to really make change, it's been years, and now I'm getting to a space where the awareness is catching it, and then I'm also able to actually like not eat while I know I'm overeating. So it kind of takes me a lot of time to. I know I'm aware of it now, but then the bridge between awareness and an action like takes time to build that new habit. Um, and I've been aware that when I travel or when I'm on a different set, my routine completely shifts because I'm also a Virgo, so I love spontaneity and I love the circus life, but I
yeah.
also I think I need a little bit of structure just literally for survival. And when you get thrust upon and you're living in a new space, a new environment, it's pretty challenging. I also I have certain things like I have a fancy water ionizer machine, so I've been drinking the same water for 5 years. So when I'm away, I don't have access to that water. That kind of fucks me up a little bit. Usually the gym is you can always find a gym pretty much anywhere. So finding and staying physically locked in, that's like my morning coffee, like waking up in the morning,
Mhm,
going to the gym. Um, even silly things like stretching. Like there are ways to kind of habit stack um, that you can do as long as you're aware of it, like you can always kind of find the time. But I will say like on Heavy Hitters season one, I definitely suffered where the routine was you got to wake up at 6 a.m. to get to call time at 7, and then you're on set all day. Some days you're working a lot, some days you're not, but I'm not really drinking as much water as I should. I didn't meditate, and that was actually meditation was a big thing that I wasn't doing that I know I can step aside for
mhm,
10 minutes and like like I know I can do it. I just wasn't prioritizing it. And for me, it
mhm,
has to be a non-negotiable or else I'm not going to do it. If I give myself an option not to do it, I usually don't. And then when you're in a new environment, it's easy to just kind of like literally be on like a floating river, just like going with the motions of everything.
mhm,
Um, so when your sleep schedules, and I'm also like I'm kind of big on like going to bed early, waking up early, and waking up and like giving myself time in the morning. Even so, if I don't have to get to work till 9, I'm not waking. I did in high school, but I'm not waking up at 8:30 and like brushing my hair and then like running to work. I'm up at like 7 and like I'll take ease in the morning. And now my morning routine is like wake up, have like a warm glass of water, I'll pray. I'll do like an oral routine, so I'll do some like oil pulling and then I'll do
mhm,
some tapping. I do like a face plunge in ice and that kind of like wakes me up. I'll go to the gym, I'll come back, take a shower, facial cleanse, and then I do, Mama Joan, and then I'll do a little meditation. And then I do like vocal exercises too. So vocals, that's another big thing for the new year. Just changing my register to kind of because communication is such a big thing. But yeah, to answer your question, man, I mean, traveling makes it challenging and I am now at this space because I've done it more that than I have like when I first started to now be aware that I know that's going to be a hurdle that I have to jump through. Um, and I want to be at my best. So find what are like, and I don't have to do everything because I know I'm not going to be able to do what I can do when I'm here.
mhm.
But what are like three things, whether that's stretching, whether that's breath work in the morning, whether that's a meditation, and then also prioritizing eating whole foods, which is unfortunately not always a luxury when you're on certain sets or in certain environments. So really trying to prioritize getting the right foods to fuel our body again, still stay hydrated. And yeah, so I'm still navigating it, bro. I'm still navigating it. And I haven't even and like Heavy Hitters, that was 2 months, which was like incredibly again overwhelming. That's the longest I'd ever been away from or at least on a film set or at least in that environment. I haven't experienced what it's like to do 6 months or 8 months or like Stranger Things, they were 9 months. Sometimes you're in another country. Like, what does that look like? Granted, I think you have a little bit more financial freedom. You have like trailers that you can go take a nap in and do your thing in. So, um, routine is definitely a big part of my life, and I feel like as I continue and pray and hopefully get more jobs in the future, to really again go in with the intention of making sure that we're taking care of ourselves so that we can show up and perform to the best of our abilities. But yeah, it was a long-winded answer.
Nah, listen, bro. I've been yapping for a fucking million years. Don't even worry about it. uh, also, I envy the fact that you can lock the fuck in and like I'm sure it comes natural to you anyway. But like just like the routine thing in the morning because I'm same. I'm like that up here, but I'm like the heaviest sleeper on the planet, dog.
Mm,
If I like don't have to get up for anything, like actually, like my body's forcing me to stay in bed until like fucking I don't even know. I feel like the average, at least like right now, as I'm like not working as much, I guess, is like uh oh, I kind of talked about this earlier. I worked on a movie uh literally like the day after the we finished Heavy Hitters this recent time in Florida.
mm,
It was the day after until like December, I think it was the 8th or the 7th or one of them. Um that was the worst set I've ever been on by a million fucking miles.
oh,
It sucked. It was horrible. Loved the crew. Director, horrible person. I will gladly say that with regardless, horrible movie. But like post that movie, I'm like taking it so damn slow and like taking those smallest jobs possible just so I can like live, obviously. But like this like the most of the month of December and at least until a little bit of this month, I'm really trying to like, you know what I mean, like be a person where I breathe and stuff and shower and
Mhm.
sleep, which is awesome. But like to my own demise, I guess I'm sleeping too much. You know what I mean? And now I feel like I have to like actually balance it. But what I'm saying is I envy the fact that you're able to do that. Like your body like lets you do that. And I'm not making an excuse by any means, but I'm jealous.
No, bro. It's also been like years of kind of doing that stuff. And where I was like after college, I was like living with my mom for a minute. So it was really, I didn't have friends telling me we're going out to a bar on Friday, Saturday. Like I wasn't really in that space. So it was really like me versus me every single day.
Mm,
I'm like, what makes me feel good? Like how do I want to show up? Like how do I want to be the healthiest version of myself? And then also now, man, like there's some kind of motivational video and it was kind of talking about if you make a sacrifice for 1 year to get the life that you want for the rest of your life, like, are you willing to make those sacrifices, kind of? And then watching Marty Supreme, bro, and I'm like, dude, I'm not doing enough. I'm not doing enough. And I'm like, I'm in this new space. I'm in New York City where it's like the land of opportunities in a way. And I'm on this adventure and venture to scale up in my career and as a person. Um, I'm like, I don't want to fuck around, dude. I'm like, this is like my shot, kind of. Like I'm still like in my 20s. I'm getting close to getting out, but I'm still like in my 20s, and the expenses are through like a lot more through the roof being in the city versus when I was back home. So I feel like the stakes are a little higher. I'm like, this is kind of feels almost like my one shot, even though I know there will be different seasons where I can like come in and out, but I feel like this is the time. So I'm like, I don't want to fuck around. And it's very easy to. It's very easy to
mm,
like watch kind of movies all night and stay up super later. I think I'm also kind of just I'd rather wake up before and while everyone's sleeping than like do like I can't do work at night. I think it's just like a like I've never really been able to like after 7 o'clock, dude. Like I'm in my wind down zone. I'm like either gonna watch a movie or like I'll literally just listen to music and like meditate and like wind my nervous system down to get to bed because when I'm up and at 'em in the morning, I feel better about myself and I always feel like I get more done. And then I also, dude, I listened to a video of Kobe talking about waking up at 4 a.m. and he talked about the the amount of sessions that he can get into a day when he wakes up at 4 a.m. and then works till like 8 p.m. He'll get like 4 sessions in, whereas other guys will get like two or one. And he's like, in the beginning, the separation's slow, but by the time he's 5, 10 years down the road, doesn't matter how much you work in the summertime, you're never going to catch up to me, you know? So I'm kind of going in with
mm.
that framework too, where I feel like I got to light up my ass in a way. And I want to, and that helps me propel because like my why is strong to help me get out of bed. And again, waking up at 5 a.m. still scares the shit out of me. And I'm doing 6 a.m. right now to kind of slowly get into it.
Mm.
But I feel like I'm kind of wired and like locked in to make some changes this year because I don't want to go back, dude. You know, like if my mom was like, "Hey, worst comes to worst, you can always come back home." Like, "Ma, I love you, but I gotta go. I gotta go. We gotta make this thing
I'm a
work."
big boy, bye.
Yeah.
LOL.
So what
Nah,
about
dude, like I said, envious as hell. I as a peer, I'm glad you're doing good. You know what I mean? Uh no, but that's fire. That's
But
fire.
bro,
How
I will say like I think our bodies are so adaptable, like more adaptable than we give ourselves credit for. Um like sometimes like people are like I would never be able to give up cheese. And then you like give up cheese for like a couple months and then it's like boom, I don't even think about cheese. Same thing with like soda or like I could never wake up at 6 a.m. Once you start like for me it's like I was in a rhythm, my circadian rhythm was I was falling asleep at 11 every night.
Mhm,
So if I try to go to bed at 9, I couldn't. And the best way to
mhm.
remedy that is to just force yourself to wake up at 6 a.m., get less sleep. But then once 9 o'clock rolls around, you're tired. So like don't take a nap throughout the day, then you fall asleep. And maybe it's not 9, maybe it's 10. And then you wake up early again the next morning. And then you can like reshift your cycle to the point where after 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks, it becomes your body doesn't think about it, then you just start waking up. And I think we don't give ourselves credit because our bodies are incredibly intelligent and we can change anything we want about ourselves. It's pretty crazy.
I'm saying, dude. Insane. Yeah, I'm also a morning person. Like I like function when I wake up. You know what I mean, dog. That's why I hate work. Like when I was working like at the gym or McDonald's or whatever I was in high school, dog. The night shift sucked, and not just because I'm like sleepy at the end, but just like dog, it's like 10 p.m. If I'm on my feet actually working, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna explode and die and turn into dust. You know what I mean? But get me in the morning all you want. Don't care. You know what I mean? If I have to get up at
Yeah.
3 a.m. every day, fire. Like I have a buddy that's a garbage man right now, and he's like, yeah, man, I get up at like 3, but like I'm done with work at like 10 usually. And it's great because I still have like the day and I make like a salary. And I'm like, that sounds awesome. I'm gonna be a fucking garbage man. You know what I
I
mean?
didn't know that.
Uh
That's wicked.
yeah, no, right. Um,
No, also, dude, like our bodies are meant to like rise with the sun and sleep when the sun sets. Like that's like our natural innate rhythm. And
yeah.
New York's a little tough because again, it's like the city of lights kind of, so it's very easy and like the artificial light can be so intense, but winter time can be challenging because the sun sets at 5. I'm not going to bed at 5. But like once things get a little
Yeah.
bit more natural, like I want to wake up when this that's why when you go camping, you wake up, there's no EMFs around you, like you wake up with the sun, you fall asleep when the sun sets like an hour after, and you feel so rejuvenated afterwards. So with like a lot of buildings and just the way things are now and with TV and technology, it makes it a lot more challenging. So we gotta fight to be healthy nowadays, dude. We're climbing uphill, man. It's tough.
Dude, like the fat people in Wally, you know what I'm saying? Like that's the future, you know
Bro,
what I mean?
Wally was a low-key documentary.
I'm
That John
I'm
was so
saying
real.
I'm saying insane.
Unreal. Unreal. All right, I got some final rapid fire questions to have bring this thing home. And again,
Hit me.
you say rapid fire. I think everyone, I listen to a lot of podcasts and everyone has rapid fire questions, but take your time if you feel inclined to.
I'm gonna go so fast, you'll have no idea.
Let's go, brother. All right, my
Won't even be
dude.
able to hear me.
What would you say right now, today, brings you the most joy?
Um, I lied. I'm not answering this bitch fast. I've been talking about it the whole damn time, but I guess music. I fucking love music, man. I guess creating. You know what I mean?
Mm.
If I have any time, any period of time, if I have like an hour, I'm gonna leave. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna consume media. I'm gonna make media. You know what I'm saying?
Let's go.
As
Let's
corny as
go.
it is.
I love it. All right, what are your top 4 values?
Top 4 values. Holy shit. Uh, I'm gonna answer it a little weird. I value time, but like more of a in like a hopeful sense because I want to be good at time management and I try really hard. But I like if I have the option to kind of like what I was saying before, if I have like an hour or something, let's say, I'm not gonna choose to like consume media. You know what I mean? I'm gonna choose to like take a shower or something. You know what I mean? Like so I value time priority. Like you know what I'm trying to say? Like time, I guess.
Utilizing your time, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Values. Holy shit. Sociability. You know what I mean? If that answers that, because
Yeah.
like kind of like I was saying the whole time, like I don't know, I like talking to people and it's fun and cool.
Mm.
um, Also it gives you like new experiences and stuff, and like it gets it literally like this. It helps gain some kind of new perspective, or you know what I mean. Conversations are awesome.
Amen.
Values. Also just like being nice, I guess. Whether that be myself or other people, because like just I feel like there's too many people. I'm not gonna name any names, but there was one specific person that we've both worked with, but I'll just talk about it after we're done recording this.
Mm.
That motherfucker was just always mad, and I'm like, why are you being mean and mad? You could just like choose not to be, and you wouldn't be wasting your own time and energy. Um, all right, and then the fourth thing, uh, broadly, I'll say love. I think everybody needs some kind of love, whether that be with the, like love for themselves or love of other people or receiving love or da 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 da. I think love's an important thing just in life. You know what I mean? Because I think it's a very, I guess, holistic uh thing that occurs in life that everybody kind of needs is in some capacity. You know what I mean?
Mm. Amen. Amen. All right. I also, when I sit with this, my intention for this podcast episode, but the whole series is really to celebrate the guests. So
Hmm.
I want to allow a moment of reflection, and if there's a time in your life where you went through an event or something happened that you are the most proud of yourself, in your life. It could be first thing that pops to your head.
Um, there's a couple things uh that I'm most proud of. I think like a specific event, like a thing, or you're just saying like in general, like an
Yeah, it could be
idea,
a
or does it not
specific
matter?
thing. Yeah, yeah, specific. It's cool.
Um, I think I really, and it's a little ironic, but what I was talking about it a little bit before, but like the like hospital visit, I guess, and I mean it in a slightly ironic sense, but like I'm proud of the fact that I got out of there and like made a change. You know what I mean? I'm proud of my uh more focus on myself versus my work, I guess. But because of the like hospital visit, and I know like it's a little grim, but like, you know what I mean? I'm proud of the fact that I became a new person because of it. You know what I mean?
It's a great answer. It's a great answer. All right, a little
No
bit more on the
shucks.
goofy side. What would you say is your spirit animal?
Oh, dude, I'm a lizard, dude. Come on. I'm some kind of like gecko, something with like a Yoshi tongue. Stop playing.
Let's go. All right,
Solely based on vibes.
I
Awesome.
love it. This one's a little bit of a doozy, so you can take your time with it. But what would you say is a TV, a book, or movie character that is most like you?
Mm. Um, For the bit, I want to say Marty Supreme, but that's not true at all.
Let's go. That's a
Extremely,
good
because
answer.
I no, it's a horrible answer. Because really, low key, I'm gonna like tangent really hard. Marty Supreme, great movie, but it only worked because Marty Supreme is like the shittiest guy to ever exist. You know what I mean? And I
Mhm.
think that's so funny. Regardless, uh, fuck. I'm trying to think, what have I like seen recently? Um, my fault. That's most like me. Is that
Yeah,
was that was the question?
that you would say,
Um.
or that you relate to the most.
I relate to. Um, Fuck. I'm gonna. I'd be thinking too hard and too long about it if I like had a genuine answer. But kind of for the bit, but also because it's fire. I'm like a Mike Wazowski low key. I'm just like a little guy that like walks around. You know what I mean? No, I think that low key is my serious answer because like I don't take anything way too seriously. You know what I mean? Like I'm not here to fucking be like the guy from the bear that's like stressed out all the time. You know what I mean? Like I'm not that.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? I'm not like a specific like guy. I'm a little dude. You know what I
But Mike
mean?
Wazowski is also, dude's a leader. He brings people together. He gets stuff done.
That's true. That's true. That's true. See, I'm gonna go Mike Wazowski.
I
Fuck it.
dig it. I dig it. All right. What is your comfort film? Might not be your favorite film, but it's one that you go back to.
My comfort film. I'm trying to think of what I've seen the most. Um, I probably any of the Toby Spider-Man movies. Those are, I think I've seen those just like throughout my entire life. I've seen those like the most. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Yeah, I
I think
just
I like the
rewatched the
second
second
one.
one. Ah,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
classic, dude.
Hell yeah, hell
Classic.
yeah.
My mom and I also, when she came up for Christmas time, we actually did go to Joe's Pizza and they got the Spider-Man.
Oh, dude, that's fire. That's sick.
Pretty hype. All right, my brother, as we wind down, we're dreaming into the future, man. And you go through this beautiful journey of you creating art, and it comes through, and you create collaborations, and you collaborate with some of the most inspiring people. And you also, at some place, you also mentor people and allow them to express their versions of themselves. You go on to just be the ultimate artist in all forms of creation and writing and producing and directing and doing the sound thing. You're your boots on the ground, but you're also making great art. You get married, you fall in love, dude. You just lived a beautiful life, but ultimately, your time is up, and you're in the ground, or you're up in the sky, or you're on to that next life, or wherever that takes you. And it is your funeral. It's your last day, and all your loved ones are showing up. And it's a sad day, but it's also a beautiful day of celebration. On this day, how do you want to be remembered, and what do you want people to say about you? What did you leave behind?
Um, I'm gonna correct you slightly. Uh, or not correct you, but like alter the question a little bit. Uh, my buddy recently, or not recently, but like within the past year, couple of years, his grandma, when she passed, like before she passed, she was like, "Don't have a funeral, have like a party."
Yeah,
And I want that because that's awesome. I don't want motherfuckers to be sad. I want motherfuckers to shake ass after I die, man. Come
yeah,
on.
dude, let's go.
Um, yeah, no, I don't know. I don't want to be remembered for anything like super like ominous or like like I said, I'm just a little guy. I just want to be remembered. Uh, I don't know, as a cool dude, I guess. And that I don't know. I tried to uh build a community, I guess. Not specific. I didn't like try to build a community, but I guess remembered as like a person that a motivated person because I think too many people are not motivated. But also, like I said, I don't give a shit what you think about me. Shake ass at my funeral. That's fire.
I dig it. All right, and then last question. Let's say there's a young artist out there who's maybe he's in middle school, maybe he's in high school, and he doesn't know what he wants to be in life, but he's drawn to the arts. He saw that movie for the first time that inspired him, and maybe wants to be a filmmaker, maybe wants to be a photographer, maybe wants to start writing songs and bringing his songs into the world. He can't express it, but he knows he's different, and he wants to create in a way to tell stories and bring people together. But he doesn't really know the right directions to go. What advice would you have for a young artist emerging and trying to find himself in today's world?
I'm gonna tell him two things. One, uh, stop being a bitch. Be social and talk to people and go to new places and just literally physically go out and experience things. Because that is probably the biggest foot you'll get anywhere. Uh, at least relating it a little bit more to the music scene, for example. The people that I personally find the most interesting and the most like motivated are the people that physically go out and go to shows or physically go out and like support, you know what I mean? Physically go out and do stuff. Um, and then the second thing being along the same lines, don't be afraid to uh push yourself. You know what I mean? Because you kind of have to push yourself to like go out and do new things, and experience new things. But like even in the sense of, even if you're just like, let's say you're like writing something. If you have writer's block, because writer's block isn't real, you know what I mean? Push yourself a little bit. Like writer's block just means you're scared to say something stupid. Write something stupid. Write something that's awful, please, because it's better to have something out of your brain onto paper, than floating in the void of nothing in your brain. So push yourself and go out. You know what I mean?
Let's go. Mic drop. Beautiful stuff,
Hell
man.
yeah.
Stuff. Dude, I appreciate you, man. I love you. I'm like so excited to see again what you bring. And I gotta head out to Long Island and see some live shows and see what you guys got going up over there. But
Yeah,
before I
man.
let you go, bro, we gotta let the audience know where can we support you, where can we find you if you got anything cool coming out on the horizons, where's the best place that people can go?
Oh, I'm extremely active on Instagram. I'll just like flash my thing real quick. Not that it means anything necessarily, because I don't know if anyone's actually physically watching this and gonna be like, yes, his Instagram. But like that's me. I'm Angelo.official, but instead of the L, it's a one. Uh, I'll send it to you as well. Not that
Yeah,
you
we'll put it in
don't
the show
have it,
notes.
but you know what
We'll
I'm
put it in
saying.
the show
Yeah, yeah.
notes.
Yeah, and I have an album coming out probably within the next like month. I don't know when this comes out, but within the next month I'll have an album out. So that's
Yeah,
another
this will
thing.
be
But
out
yeah,
on
my Instagram.
Friday. Let's go.
Oh,
All right,
fire,
brother.
fire.
I appreciate you, man. Keep on keeping on, dude, and I'll be staying in touch.
Hell yeah. Love you, bro. Appreciate you.